Look at this cool thing. If we go to a guest, whoosh, then this would be a screen with a guest. But then we come back to us. Whoosh.
Okay.
That took me 3.5 hours. So thanks for the okay. This is going to be a fucking stellar episode. I'm just tired as fuck.
Welcome to the Bunkroom Chats Podcast with me, Elena, also known as Betty, and you.
I'm still Tim,
also known as Conrad by me and people in the department. Today, once you wake up, we're going to be talking about radical acceptance.
Radical acceptance.
I didn't even think of this as a possible topic for today's show. This was all Conrad, so thank you.
Well, I don't know that it's all me.
Well, when you brought this up, what did you have in mind to talk about with radical acceptance? How has radical acceptance played a part in your mental health journey?
Radical acceptance is a part of everybody's life, whether you realize it or not. So you may use this under a different guise. A lot of people say 5 words a lot, and they don't realize that it's the definition of acceptance.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but I feel like I say that when I don't really think it is what it is. That's just a mantra for me now. Like, even if I'm,
It's a great mantra to have because it means that you realize that there is only one thing in this world that you control.
And that is what?
It's just another one of those base things that you learn, or I learned in my pathway there, that we can only control the way we react to things.
I understand what you're trying to say, but at the same time, I think you can't, for example, if someone you love dies, you can't say, I choose not to be sad, because if you do that, that's unhealthy. You can't, so you can't control all of your reactions. You can control your reactions to a point. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you're taking that just a bit
too far.
Well, not far, but too literal, I guess.
Okay.
Like, obviously, there are going to be shocks to the system.
Yeah.
And obviously, there are going to be times, but you still can choose how to feel. Sorry. You can't choose how to feel on the inside, but you can choose how you portray.
Correct. Okay,
which I think is more of what it means. Like, is this person that's berating me on social media going to bother me? Or am I just going to let it go? Or not show them outwardly that I'm bothered?
You. Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. You choose how you portray your emotions, how you express, I guess is a good word. You choose how you express your reactions to things. So That does make sense. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about how that has impacted you personally, and then we'll go to me. So how has radical acceptance played a part in your journey with mental health?
Well, just the first thing off the top of my head was something I've discussed, or something we talked about in previous episode, about how I used to lie, manipulate, cheat my way to somehow get alcohol into my life at some point in time during any given scenario.
Yeah.
Minus work. I'd never drink while on the job. That, again, was part of that protecting my problem thing. I knew how to protect it. And one of those things was to not shit where I eat.
Yeah.
But when I came back from rehab, I had made the conscious decision to be open and honest about my struggle and what had happened to me, and use that moving forward as a tool to help me continue in my sobriety.
So was that a way for you to kind of radically accept your
Yeah,
situation,
I think so.
yeah.
Radical acceptance. The reason it's called radical acceptance is because it's radical.
Yeah.
Like, it might not always be. You might have to put some work into it, or you might find you're pleasantly surprised by how well you start to learn how to accept things. And when you mentioned about someone passing away or something, now there's a whole nother thing you get into called the 5 stages of grieving. And the end stage of the 5 stages of grieving is
Acceptance. Yeah.
So certain ones are not radical. Certain require a couple of steps to get
Progression.
there. And that's completely normal. It's completely normal to grieve over the death of someone or the death of something in your life, i.e., me no longer being able to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, and kind of accepting that you're allowed to grieve that too.
I did not accept this as well as I thought the first time around. Meaning, I wound up back in the hospital a couple times after I said, this should be no issue at all. They say I'm going to die now. I can quite easily, I don't want to die, so I'm just not going to drink anymore.
I think it's funny how many times when you're entering like recovery or something like that, how many times you truly believe, like, yeah, this is it. I'm not touching that again. This, and you really think that, and then the next day you're like right back on it.
It's the hardest thing. Again, something else I've mentioned before. Step 1 was my hardest step. It's an amazing and liberating feeling to realize that there is something that has more of a control on you than you do of the situation.
You mean like God?
No, I mean like alcohol.
Oh. I'll take that out.
Alcohol had controlled my brain to the point where I couldn't stop consciously.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I said it in my head, how many times I tried, if I was still able to get alcohol, I would figure out a way to do it, hide it, and I would figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
Anything I had to do, to and include lying and manipulating, like I've mentioned, and a lot of those things should be red flags, but don't seem like it in the moment.
Yeah. It almost feels like you're just doing what you need to do to stay alive too. It's kind of like you're just, at least it did for me. It kind of felt, well, you explain away your actions because you're like, well, I need this in order to, function, in order to be,
That's one of the things that the brain does.
Yeah.
But at least from my personal experience, it would figure out a way to justify it. It would figure out a way to, even though it's killing me, say it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get through this together and we'll have a couple of drinks. And sometimes it was even just, rules be damned, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get pissed at me and I don't care. I'll figure it out afterwards.
Yeah. Because you don't need to worry about that right now. You just need to get what you need. Yeah. Right. But I also think that radical acceptance can kind of be related to, not even with addiction stuff or even mental health stuff, but just with day-to-day struggles. Because I know one of my favorite quotes is, this will be hard, but you can do hard things. Which kind of is a form of radical acceptance. It's kind of like you're accepting this is going to suck. Mm-hmm. Whatever I have to do, this is going to be terrible. But you know what? I can still do it. That doesn't mean I can't do it. Just because it's going to be really hard, just because it's going to be very challenging, I can still do it. And that is kind of a form of radical acceptance.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of saying, okay, like I'm accepting this situation that I'm in.
Yes, that part
still gonna,
is 100%. You just said something that had me, it'll come back. But one of the coolest things that I came across, and I think it was just like on one of those reels, was pertaining to radical acceptance. And it was a TikTok or whatever of somebody saying, if you come across somebody in your life that uses "it is what it is" a lot, then that's one of the most dangerous people. And It doesn't mean dangerous in the bad sense.
Yeah.
It means like this guy fucking gets it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those like make you think pieces where just like, yeah, it is what it is. There is a lot in this world that we want to change and that we hang ourselves up on daily and that just lives rent free in our heads.
Yeah.
But at the very end of it, we can't do anything about it. Most of it, 99% of it, we can't do anything about. And that's why it said the only thing on earth that you can control is the way you react to things.
I think that that's something I struggle with, and I would love to hear from people who listen to this. Hopefully, we have a few listeners by now. I'd love to hear from some people, see if they struggle with this too. But I know I spend way too much time thinking about what other people think of me. Mostly, are they mad at me? Are they upset with me? And stuff that, even if I know I did the right thing and it still upset someone, I will think about that for days.
Yeah.
Well, why did they react that way? What did they, did I do something I don't know about? Even if I ask them and I'm like, hey, did I upset you? And they say no, well, maybe they're just making me feel good. Maybe they are still upset, and a lot of that's trauma based, but a lot of it is just severe overthinking.
And you just hit the nail on the head, which is what this episode is all about, which is what the radical acceptance itself is all about. It's not about the extremes. Like you started with the most extreme thing you could think of, death.
Yeah.
It's not all about being able to control yourself at a funeral. That's not what we're getting at here. It's the day in, day out racing thoughts, things like you were just talking about how people think about me.
Yeah.
Now, also in that same breath, you don't want to just walk around without a care in the world.
Yeah.
You want to keep good hygiene. You want to continue about your day.
Be a decent person. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do want these things to creep into your head a little bit just to keep you straight and honest. Like anxiety is generally a good thing. Now, when you let it consume and overtake your entire life, that's when it becomes a bad thing. A little bit of anxiety is what gets things done. Like if we worry about the water bill, we generally tend to pay the water bill,
Yeah.
So, again, anxiety, big, crazy, scary word for worry. And radical acceptance, big, scary, crazy word for it is what it is.
Have you heard that expression that says when you worry about something, you're living it twice?
No, I don't.
You're living it once in your head and once when it actually happens.
I haven't heard that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, but that kind of, I think most of what I get what you're saying, and I agree with you that a lot of anxiety and worry does have a place and it does help us. I think a lot of times and oftentimes we worry about things that are just potentialities.
Shit simple.
And I'm the poster child for that. Like I will worry about stuff that's a year out.
And that's one of the reasons that I texted you last night and said, let's cover either significant loss or radical acceptance. Because we want to have these base topics down in the early episodes so that we can go back and kind of reference them when we're talking about something complex like toxic friendships.
Yeah.
You can think back and be like, oh, yeah, remember when we talked about it is what it is and what all that
you can't
actually
control
means.
People. You can't, yeah.
And I think I'm drifting away from the microphone. I did get a little feedback that I was sounding low on the microphone.
I feel like I was. But I have this tendency to just not even be close to it. I think I'm just not even in the same
Yeah, you like to
space.
drift away from the camera.
Because I don't like it. It's just right in my face. I don't like it. But I have to be better about that.
If there is anything that you guys can tell us and let us know from watching the show that we need to pick up on, figure out, or get better at, we are still learning on how this setup works and all of that. So we appreciate the comments.
So this website that we found, hopeway.org, talks about radical acceptance. It says radical acceptance is a distress-tolerant skill that's designed to keep pain from turning into suffering. And what they said that I really liked is radical acceptance is not approval, but rather completely and totally accepting with our mind, body, and spirit that we cannot currently change the present facts even if we do not like them. By choosing to radically accept the things that are out of our control, we prevent ourselves from becoming stuck in unhappiness, bitterness, anger, and sadness, and we can stop suffering. So that really makes sense to me. It's not saying, hey, I love what's happening to me right now. It's more of, I acknowledge this is happening to me right now.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
But we can change how we react to things, which, as I was just saying, you can choose to end suffering. Like, again, you're allowed to feel pain. You're allowed to suffer. Things are allowed to bother you.
And I think we can see that in real life situations. Even news stories that you see of people who are living in just ridiculously hard situations and they're still upbeat and happy, and you wonder, how can you possibly be happy when, in this situation? But that's radical acceptance. This is what I'm going through. This is my life, and this is what I can control, and I can control how I react to it. They do have some notes on this page that are interesting. And this is what we were talking about. One of their tips is, remind yourself that the unpleasant reality is just as it is and cannot be changed. And that's only if it can't be changed, right? Like there are some things. This doesn't mean that if you're going through something of your own doing that you can change. That you say no.
This is
it is what it is.
This is a thing that's happened. Well, yes. So that's the other side of it, I guess. Yeah. If I'm understanding your question, like in the fire service, if we run a call and there's some minor hiccups during that call, we come back, we do a hot wash of it, and we train to be better the next time. Yes, you can make changes about things that have happened if you don't like the way the outcome was. But you can't change things that are just completely out of your control, like the sun coming up.
I think it comes down to looking at a situation and say, okay, what about this, if anything, can be changed? So like you said, going on a really shitty call, what about this can we change to do better next time, if anything? And then you focus on what can be changed. Don't dwell on what can be changed.
Right.
Focus on it. Correct it, move on.
That's one of the big keys. You're hitting the nail on the head.
Thank you so much. But it's all about how you take each thing that's happening to you. But what I was saying before is more of, if you are the one causing your own distress for whatever reason, intentionally, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're just making bad choices.
Yeah.
If you can stop making those choices, it doesn't help you to say, no, it is what it is. My life is what it is. Right. I'm just like along for the ride.
Like me not going to rehab. It is what it is. I'm an alcoholic.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess you could say, because that was something that was a changeable. You can't change your genetic predisposition. You can't change your health issues at the moment, but you can take the next step to become healthier. So yes. I guess in that sense, yes, that does make more sense. So it's about owning what you can change and accepting what you can't.
Yeah. The serenity prayer. Have you ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
What is it?
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
And the
courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I could so fall asleep.
I know, you look so tired. You're not going to remember any of this.
I should address this on
Should we have a competition?
I should address this on because I was editing last week's episode with Vince, and then this morning, of course, I look awfully tired here lately. I mean, we talked about sleep debt and everything. We were going to record this podcast today, and my wife literally came up and woke me up 15 minutes before go time.
Thank God she did. I would have shown up at your door. And
my alarm, I didn't hear it, which is, I had fallen asleep with my phone, so I think I just rolled on top of it. But yeah, I look physically tired, but everything is good. I swear.
Mentally, you're just as tired. But yeah, going back to radical acceptance, there's a few more things on this website that I do want to touch on.
Please
one of the
do.
things One of their tips is allow disappointment, sadness, or grief to arise within you, which I really like because a lot of people might misperceive this as being you're not allowed to feel upset. You're not don't feel upset about it because you can't change it. That's not what it is. It's you can feel upset about it, especially if you have been given a shit lot in life.
Is this what you kind of came in
Yeah.
thinking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were, when you started off so
Exactly.
high
It's
with
like
the...
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. What else is here? Acknowledge that life can be worth living even when there is pain. Oh, that's a hard one. That's tough for me. Not
Acknowledge that life is worth living or living.
Even when there is pain, even when there. So it's like you can be in a really really bad situation and you're like, oh well, it's not all bad. It feels like there's more bad than good sometimes. That's what I'm saying.
I came to terms with the fact, I mean, and it's when you live a life or of depression, and you didn't really know you were depressed. First of all, that kind of comes as a shock.
Imagine.
But secondly, things start making a little bit more sense too. Like,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, I was a little depressed there. Didn't really think of it that way. But nothing put it into better perspective than when I was told, this is killing you now.
Yeah.
And not being able to stop still, well, it bothered me enough that I sought help. And to me, I took that as 2 green lights, 2 thumbs up, that I do want to be present on this planet. I
Yeah.
do want to live. When I came to that term, like, it opened my eyes that, yes, my life is worth fighting for,
Yeah.
and I do enjoy it, and I want to be here, and I want to go get help because I'm not done on this planet yet. I still have things to do, kids to raise, and there's something called passive death wish.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm not going to stand in the way.
Yeah.
Of
Exactly.
something
I'm not gonna stop it.
Like,
yeah.
I'll go. That's why you see, and I don't know. I know you've taken probably a couple of depression surveys. And anybody out there that's ever been asked if they're depressed or had to follow up on a depression protocol, where the doctor's office or whatever will give you a little survey to fill out, just to see how sad you are. But there's always one bizarre question on there that I always used to think was funny, but totally makes sense now. Was like, have you gotten into thrill-seeking behaviors,
Yeah.
like jumping out of airplanes and what have you? And I was like, what a bizarre question, but it
Because
makes
you're kind of like
sense.
tempting fate a little bit,
It's
You're kinda
allowing it to kind of happen. Like, if this parachute doesn't open, is it gonna be the worst thing in the world? But you don't want to actively go out there and bring harm to yourself. So that passive death wish that I think I kind of struggled with a little bit became null and void anymore once I saw I do want to be here.
Yeah. You know what I thought the other day though? It's not really on topic, but I think it's something worth talking about. I think a lot of people, most people I would say, are just kind of moving through life, kind of going through the motions. Like, we go to work, we go home, we do the stuff we're supposed to do.
100%.
But you don't live, you don't experience, and it's not even our fault really, because who can afford to to do the things you really want to do? Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Most people are, you have to go to work. I've had people say, oh, why don't you take a vacation? I can't take a vacation.
Well, you still get paid on vacation.
Well, but I don't.
But you lose the overtime.
My money comes from overtime. I feel like a lot of people are not really living their lives. I think the society, we're so, and could be a whole other episode, to be honest, but we're so stuck in our worth comes from working.
Yeah.
That we don't, you don't retire until you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, depending on your job and your income.
And even then, do people really retire?
Yeah. A lot of people are still working.
Especially in the fire service. Like, I mean, when I say retire, I mean, like, retire from the life.
Yeah.
Like, not come in for a coffee club anymore.
Yeah. You absolutely.
You never really fully leave the life.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't want to. Some people do shut it down completely because they've had enough of it, and it's kind of a separation to maybe start that healing process that they should have started a long time ago.
Yeah. But I definitely think it's not you said something in, I think it was the last episode, you said that, or no, the episode before last, you said that we really should have like an on-call therapist. And I have not stopped thinking about that because it's so true when you think about it, because what we do and what most first responders do of any, any type is so incredibly high stress.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're not on calls, it's stressful.
It's
constant stress. And then there's really, you just kind of accept that. There's a radical acceptance of that. You just kind of accept this is what is normal for us.
It's 100%. And you feel like you have to, because this is the job that you chose. This is the job that you love.
Yeah.
There still isn't a day that goes by that I don't wake up and get excited to go to work.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that we say sounds like we're bitching about the job, but we're really not. Like, it's still something I very much love.
Yeah. But I think at the same time it's important to call attention to it, because I think a lot of people for so many years have had this job and said absolutely nothing. You've got people who are struggling mentally who haven't said anything. So I think it's okay to say, I love this job. I love being able to help people. I love being able to do something exciting. And, you never know what you're going to get. It's cool and it's exciting and it's rewarding. Mm-hmm. When you get the, life-saving award, or you get, that you had a part in saving someone's life. That's huge.
I don't need those awards.
I don't need them, but I got one and it was nice. Whatever. I've just saved one life. Anyway.
I'm not discrediting.
Yes, you are.
I am kind of, aren't I?
Yeah. The expression, the Jewish expression, if you've saved one life.
No, I'm not Jewish.
You've saved. It's okay to say, I love this job. It's amazing. It's everything I've wanted to do. Also, this job is hard. This job is taxing. This job is stressful. This job can lead to permanent mental health issues if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't do the things you should be doing to care for yourself, if you don't try to prioritize breaks, if you don't try to prioritize family. And if you are only the job, that can be difficult. Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about separation and breaking free from it for a little bit, and some people do have a hard time with that. This is their entire identity, and to each their own. Like, that, we're not saying everybody needs to follow what we're saying to a T. These are just thoughts and observations from two folks that have lived a bit of a struggle recently and come to terms with it and have done something to actively fix things. And that's all this show is about. It's just sharing our thoughts and our observations on things like this to hopefully help others that may not have reached out for help yet, may need to and don't know how to, or just need somebody to listen to or to even talk to just bounce ideas off of. Or, hey, have you ever felt this way?
Yeah.
And know that it's okay to need a little help every now and again.
I don't think there's anything more powerful than knowing someone else is going through what you're going through or has gone through and come out on the other side. Because feeling alone is just awful.
Yeah.
But if you know that even if there's one person that can say, hey, I went through that too, or I'm going through that too, I mean, that can be a game changer.
It was a complete eye-opener at my first open group, I guess, at rehab. It was my turn to share. And, you're still in that kind of box or whatever where you just, your eyes haven't been opened yet to the wonders of group therapy. And you start talking and you start saying something that you feel like only makes sense to you. And you open your eyes and you look up around the room and there's 10, 11 people staring at you with their For the audio audience, I'm just nodding my head in amazement and awe, because that's the way it feels.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see that all of these people get it.
Yeah.
They know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're not the only one that feels these things, and you're not the only one that needs to be made felt like an asshole for it,
Yeah.
or that you shouldn't be in this job.
Yeah.
Or, and it doesn't even have to be this job. It just, whatever the situation may be, yes, I want to help people. Yes, I love this job.
But I guess what you're trying to say, I think, is we did sign up for the job and everything it entails, but we did not sign up for the lasting problems that may arise because of those things.
Well, again, we did.
Did we?
We did. But a lot of people aren't fully informed or fully understand, like the concussion protocol in football.
Yeah.
People aren't fully informed about what CTE is and what, especially the guys playing back in the 70s and what have you. But as we grow, as anything grows, we learn more, we do more research, and departments become better from it. And that's all this is. It's just our research put into a podcast form and try and make things better for somebody else.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be silly not to share it. Whether people want to listen to it or not, that doesn't make up my day. Just putting it out there so it's available.
Yeah, so eventually if someone does feel like, looking up other people,
I don't need to be some famous podcaster or anything like that. I just love sharing my story, especially for folks that can actually use it and heal from it, or maybe find the beginning steps to their radical acceptance through my words and knowing that it's okay.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people starting to come out of the that mold of macho, like, we cannot talk about mental health. And that's really nice and inspiring to see, because you can still be strong and great at your job, but also have feelings and have and struggle sometimes with mental health, and maybe have PTSD or something else, depression, anxiety. You can have all those things and still be great at your job and still love your job and want to do your job.
Absolutely.
Just because you struggle with some aspects of it doesn't mean you don't want to do your job.
Right.
It just means you want to make those things a little bit easier for yourself.
And you can make some active changes to still be in the job that you love. A great thing that I just thought of was, or a great example of that I just thought of was, I went to this rehab facility with somebody I know personally, somebody I've known for a long time, works in the same department, and they weren't ready to hang it up, but they were at a point in their mental health where they had just seen the last thing they can see.
Yeah.
And in talking with them, I was like, you don't have to give it up. Why don't you go back and teach?
Yeah.
And to this day, they're still teaching and they still love it.
There are options. You don't have to walk away from something you love completely. Sometimes it's for the best. Sometimes it's, it's best if you walk away. But if you don't want to, there are things that you can do to stay involved and to stay active. And there's also things you can do on the other side, journaling.
Mm-hmm.
You see a therapist regularly, sometimes medication.
Yeah.
There are things you can do to offset without just saying, okay, I have to be done. This is obviously means I have to be done. Not necessarily. Do you want to be done?
Yeah.
Or do you want to try to find ways to cope with these things in a healthy manner so you can continue doing the job you love?
Mm-hmm. And in the same breath, there is also, unfortunately, some of those times where you do have to take that step back and say, this is, I love this job, but it is bringing more harm to me than good.
Yeah.
And it might be necessary to take a step back from it entirely.
And I'm sure too. I mean, there are some, especially in places like Frederick, where the system is like chase car medics and stuff like that. There are some people who give up their medics so they can just be firemen because being a medic is too much.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
My wife recently asked me if I thought that the job was any kind of cause to my drinking. And I said, I don't really honestly think it was. I think it definitely, I used it as an excuse sometimes, like I'd run. And there are certain times when I would have a drink or two because of a shit call or something like that.
Yeah.
But the long-term cause for it was not that. And I did tell her that I would have, if I had ever felt that it was, and it was going to put my sobriety in jeopardy, I was 100% prepared to come back from rehab and address finding another career.
Wow.
I wanted to pick my sobriety over
everything.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was that important. And I was willing to make those steps. But I honestly, I think the job exacerbated intensified some of the already shit feelings that I had. But a lot of it was just outside the job stuff, divorce and dad dying and everything kind of compounding at once that sent me over the edge. But these are all things that take time to build up inside.
Yeah.
And very, very little of it was any kind of traumatic call I ran or anything like that.
But it's like we talked about, I think our very first episode, it's very rarely just a single call or even just multiple calls. It's there. You have an entire life outside of work.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
It's everything. You deal with stress at home and then you go and deal with stress at work. Mm-hmm. And then you go back home and you deal with more stress and then you go back to work and you deal with more. So it's everything building up on each other until you're like, oh my God, I can't deal with this.
Yeah. And
you can't necessarily remove job stress. You can't necessarily remove home stress. So it's about how do you deal with those things better.
So anyway. that excuse me.
Okay.
So that, my friends, is a good look at radical acceptance.
And other things.
And how we should probably think about it more frequently than we do.
Yeah.
Please, if you don't mind, take us on a nice journey down the social media pathway. Speaking of social medias, by the way.
We're on Facebook.
I went to add the Facebook to the the link tree.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whoa, let me take a look at this, because I never screwed around on Linktree before. And I started messing with everything just to see what was that. I think I screwed our thing up a bit.
I'll fix it.
I just changed backgrounds and stuff, and I was looking at all the cool things you could do.
Yeah, but then it looks weird when you actually... Yeah.
I need you to fix it.
All right, I'll fix it. We are everywhere now. We're on TikTok. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook.
Yeah. Thanks to me.
Thanks to you for the Facebook.
Yeah, and all the 115 followers.
That's not because of you. I invited so many people. That's not just you. That's both of us.
Yeah, we are getting... things are building.
Yeah.
And
it's exciting.
The link tree is the best way to find all of our things. But a lot of it is going down on Facebook and Instagram, right?
Yes. But we would love to hear from you guys. What you want us to talk about. If you want to be a guest. We love guests. What you think of the show. We love comments, questions, suggestions.
Please talk to us.
We're lonely.
Mm-hmm.
You can email us at the Bunkroom Chats Podcast at gmail.com. You can message us on any of our social medias. Anyway.
Bunkroom Chats Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah. Find us there. And we will be here next week. We'll have a special guest.
Yes.
Talking about sobriety.
Yes.
And yeah.
I know a little bit about that.
Yes, you do.
But he knows more. He's got more than me.
We hope you have a great week. Find something good in every day. And we will talk to you next time.